G'day, you bloody legends. Hope you're having a cracking day, and welcome to episode 3 of F125 My Team. And we are sitting at the computer in Shanghai at qualifying. And you're probably wondering, Josh, what the frick are we doing at qualifying? Well, this rookie here didn't check his audio settings prior to smacking record for this episode, and I had no audio. So I went through the entire sprint qualifying and sprint race with zero audio being captured. So what we're going to do is hit the replays and we'll go through what happened in the sprint race, and then we'll get into the live action, kicking off with qualifying and then into the race. All right, here we are at the sprint race in Shanghai. Got our 5 red lights and we are off. Starting the race in 17th position, 1 spot behind Mark in 16th. Taking a bit of a lunge up the inside there, trying to get past a couple of cars. It's a tough little section through here. Remember getting a bit close to Yuki and a bit squirrely out of the corner, but I always loved coming out of that bend, making the way down to this corner here and just having a huge lunge up the inside. Now I thought, yeah, shit, everything's running nice and smooth, and then this is where it goes all pear-shaped for me. Here I was in the middle, thinking I was only 2 wide, not realising that Sainz was also on the outside of Leclerc, and because those two had nowhere else to go, I got pinched off and copped a front right to the rear left. So we're watching it from my onboard here. Yuki gets a phenomenal run out. I'm running the mediums because I didn't think the softs were going to make it to the end in this car. Huge lunge from up at the back, up the inside of Leclerc, and I just stuck to the middle of the road. Wasn't coming across the left or anything, but obviously not enough room for 3 cars with that little of a track. So all that hard work at the beginning that I made trying to move forward, all going out the window in that one little area there. Thankfully, no damage to the car, so I was able to crack on and try and make an effort to gain another couple of positions again. Huge lunge down the inside again. Knock wheels with Liam. And then off we go. Lap 2, hadn't progressed much further. We're kind of in a bit of a gaggle of cars. Not going forward, not going backwards. It was pretty boring for the most part. It kind of stayed as you see it for the majority of the sprint race. All right, so we fast forward to lap number 6. Carlos, after our lap 1 incident, had managed to claw back and jump in front of us. I was trying to push to keep up with him, pushing a little bit too hard, spun, flicked it to the outside, was absolutely fuming, and then just Danny Kvyat it straight into fucking Liam, and pretty much ruined both of our races from there on out. Not that the race wasn't ruined to start off with, for me anyway, but scored myself a whole bunch of floor damage, and that was it. From that point onwards, it was just coasting home and trying not to rage quit at this point in time. Here we are, coming up to the final corner now. Race done and dusted. Finishing in 20th place. Wasn't in the best spirits at the end of it, and then obviously to find out that everything wasn't working for me at the back end with the audio, I was pretty freaking peeved off. So there's my pain for the first part of this video. If you want to help boost my spirits, feel free to drop a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Only new, but anything helps. So what we're going to do now is we're going to shoot over to the main race.
The Chinese Grand Prix then is upon us once again. It's a race that saw Michael Schumacher claim his final Formula One victory in 2006, as well as Red Bull's first win with Sebastian Vettel in 2009. There's no doubt there's plenty more drama to come here in Shanghai. Shanghai International Circuit then is a 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hander at turns 1 and 2 tests a driver's patience, and the flat, open to the elements location, test their skill in a crosswind. 2 DRS zones will assist passing, and they're available into turn 1 and down the kilometre-long back straight into turn 14. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Piastri, Charles Leclerc and Gasly, Sainz, Bortoleto, Norris and Alex Albon, Ocon, Lawson, Ollie Behrman and Fernando Alonso, Antonelli, Tsunoda, Joshua Dirksen and Lance Stroll, Hulkenberg, Webber, Colapinto and Isaac Hadjar rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Right, here we are on the grid, starting out of P17, same as the sprint qualifying. This race was done the day after all my mishaps and misfortunes, so I had a full 24 hours to kind of regroup myself and kind of going into this race with a fairly positive mindset. So we'll cut to the grid for the start of the race. We've got our 5 red lights. And off we go. Not too bad of a launch there. Got a good jump over Tsunoda to start off with. Managed to jump in. And making our way for a cut to the inside. Had Behrman trying to close the door on me. I just tried to keep the nose up there and try and muscle my way through. So made a couple of positions already out of the start. Pretty happy about that. Running out wide. Out of the hairpin. And punching it down towards one of my other favourite braking corners for this track. Another decent lunge, trying to be a little bit more careful this time as opposed to the sprint race. And then slot myself in behind Albon. So up to 12th, made 5 places, not a bad start to the race. Dirty air pushing the car out wide a little bit through this section of the track. Not a huge fan of this portion here. I always feel like I can never get the corner right. I always either overpower it and flick the back end out, or I've just overshot the corner and I've run super wide and making the tyres all dirty and not having much joy. Now, this corner here, not a fan of either. I always, once again, find myself getting on the gas a little bit too early, getting too keen, causing the car to slide. Not too bad of an exit on this one. Able to stick right behind Albon. Tyre offset makes a difference as well. Lawson firing up on the inside. You can tell the difference between the cars as far as speed is concerned. This thing is, I might as well be racing a brick compared to some of these other cars. Another final corner. Lap 1 done as we cross the line and made our way up to 11th position. So this is an absolutely banging start in comparison to what I was producing out of Melbourne in the last race. And we've just crossed the line, start lap number 5. Everyone's been very well behaved in this race, your boy included. Got past Bortoleto about a lap ago. He just had a bit of a moment coming out of the corner. It was nothing too outrageous. Why he's just fallen back a little bit. It was a pretty easy and benign pass. I'm starting to notice though that these mediums are starting to struggle a little bit as it comes up to the corners. But the reason for jumping to this point here is we're about to have our first DNF of the race. Big gaggle of cars. And then the young fella Kimi. His Mercedes is just not working for him at the moment. He's going out of the race with a hydraulic issue. And then 1 lap later, Nico coming down the back straight onto lap number 6. Coming into the first part of that long hairpin, pulls out wide, and then giant puff of smoke out the back. The old Kick-Sauber engine has let go. Ferrari not helping them out at all there. Moving along to lap number 9 now, really starting to feel these mediums go off. Needed to push myself for one more lap so I could make that pit window and get myself onto the hards. But those hard runners from behind, I was able to maintain at least 2 seconds gap on the guys from behind. I was never catching up to the guys in front. But yeah, the medium runners from behind were absolutely chewing me up over the last lap and a half. And you can see Alonso and Albon under braking just cutting down that gap significantly. So coming into the final corner really slow because the tyres just have no bite left in them. Cross the line and finally get the word from Mark to say, hey, let's get off these hunks of shit and put something fresher on. Car sliding wide out to the left and just turning, and it's just not wanting to bite and get into the corner. Really, really slow through this second bend. Running down, and you can just see the drive out of the corner that Fernando has. I'm not going to let him have the position easy. Sticking right with him, going in up the inside, giving him enough room on the outside because I did not want a repeat of the sprint race. At first I thought that they'd already pitted, but no, they definitely had not. That was just the difference between tyre wear with my car and the mediums versus their cars and the hards. So once again, least favourite part of the track, real slippy, pushing lots and lots of understeer. I just want to try and stay in front of these guys until I can make it to the pits. Super cautious through this long sweeping right-hander. Hitting the battery, trying to stay out of the slipstream for the guys so they can't utilise it off me. Shutting the battery down, jumping on the brakes, nipping the rear ends and sliding into the corner a bit. Didn't completely lose it, thankfully, and we make our way into the pits. So the only thing I was thinking about as I was driving in here is A, don't get a speeding infringement, and B, team, please, please, please nail the pit stop. To be holding position like I was for the first half of the race, honestly thought I was in for a shot to at least score a point. So we are approaching the pit stops. Now the turn in. And the boys have done it. They've nailed the pit stop and out we go. What a comeback from the lads. If that itself does not warrant a like or a subscribe, then I don't know what does. Right, coming up to the back end of our out lap. Cars behind on mediums, so they're pretty quick. They're gaining on me fairly fast. Our boy Mark has just gone into the pits for his tyre change. He has been having an absolute howler of a race. Nothing has been going his way. But out lap was pretty solid because as we cross the line, we've managed to crawl ourselves back up into 10th spot and that single point paying position. So as you could imagine, I was absolutely pinging. I honestly thought I was on for a solid shot here. So just trying to play it sensible, but here I am trying to fight against faster cars on a faster tyre. Albon up the inside, squeezing him a little bit, but nothing too outrageous, just keeping myself in front enough. But just the sheer performance difference between my car and their car, it's just absolutely disgusting. The sooner I can start getting some upgrades on this car, the better. Make myself a little bit more competitive. And this battling went on for another couple of laps. Somehow I was managing to keep these guys behind me, but I'm starting to be the conductor of the freight train expressive cars behind me. Coming up to the last corner for lap 14. Yuki has been putting a shit ton of pressure on me. Kind of overcooked that corner a little bit, turn in early, then had to open the wheel up and then turn back in again, so it was a double take. And then that Red Bull is just firing up on my outside. He goes for the move on the outside, and you can see him having a couple of takes as he's turning in, and I've just kept it pinned up on the inside. Managed to get in front of him, tried to really, really slow him down out of that second turn and get a good getaway. But unfortunately, just the difference in these cars, I just wasn't able to pull away and He is filling up the entirety of my mirror, which then brings Alonso into the mix. So Alonso makes the move around the outside of Yuki, and then there's a position. Now I'm super nervous because I've got the wily old Fox Fernando thumbed right up my gearbox. So we're coming through the middle section of the track. The car's still holding all right. It's still got a little bit of turn in. Tyres aren't feeling too bad. So not too bad of a run out of that section of the track. Trying not to destroy as much of my battery as possible. Hit this little chicane area into the wide open back straight. Kilometre long, full throttle. Tried to get a really good run out of there. Going to drain all of my overtake mode to try and stay in front of the guys behind. You can see Fernando slip in, and then Yuki has just pulled out the outside of Fernando. That Red Bull got a bit more pace than the Aston. Jumping on the brakes. Yuki has now reclaimed the spot behind Fernando. Wrapping up lap 15, turning in. Not the greatest of corners for me. I think I was just overcautious and just constantly looking into my mirrors, wondering where these cars are. And here comes Yuki again. He's going to try and attempt the same move as last time. Wasn't anywhere near as far up as what he was, so I was able to retain the position. Tie it inside, push it out wide to get the inside of the next corner. Come out, not too bad of a run, but that Red Bull is just a monster, even in Yuki's hands. He's back on the outside, trying to stay on the inside, and I've just braked a little bit too late, locked the rear wheels, and then that was it. First of my big mistakes. Yuki has jumped in front of me. Fernando is now applying the pressure on the left-hand side. Just want to try and keep Fernando behind and try and gun Yuki down, and there I was again. Another mistake. Pushing too hard, watching in the mirrors is just so freaking difficult. Somehow, amongst all of that, freaking Stroll has capitalised and passed both myself and Alonso to jump up into 11th position. Coming through the sweeping right hand on the back straight, in the DRS zone of Stroll. I'm like, no way, I can't have this bloke getting out in front of me and beating me in the race. So draining my battery a bit, trying to get up right behind him. Go for a bit of a lunge under the brakes. He moves a little bit, the cheeky bastard. We all know what he's like as a racer, but managed to claim the position back. Tyres aren't too bad. We're on the move. Right, moving on to the back end of lap 17. Fernando made his way past Stroll, and now he's just flown past me on the back straight. Figured that's me done. I'm not going to continue trying to battle these guys. I'm going to cause myself some more mischief. I thought if I could just stay with Alonso, it's just going to keep the pressure off me with the guys from behind. So the aim was, if I can just stick in his DRS for the rest of the race, 12th position. I'm going to be absolutely freaking stoked about that. So just pushing a little bit, just trying to stay with Alonso. Starting to feel that dirty air effect there. Just car's not as settled. Just trying to race my own race. Don't lose too much time to a Fernando or Albon behind, so I'm not a sitting duck. And then all of a sudden, I'll lose my train of thought because Mark decides to pester me over the radio.
Use your overtake button more. It's time to utilise some of this energy. Come on.
Need to save it, Mark, for trying to stay in DRS, mate. Just have some faith. Mind you, that wasn't... Oh, you fucking bell end.
Yes, as you can tell, I was less than impressed. That was the live recording at that point in time, and I thought I'd absolutely thrown that race away at that point in time. Somehow, Albon got cold feet, didn't want to punch it out past me, and I just melted my battery coming down that back straight to try and stay in front of the gaggle of cars behind me. Somehow managed to hold everyone off. They started fighting each other, and I was able to cross the line in 12th place. Pretty freaking stoked about that one. Here we are. Max, Lando, then George. Took out the weekend as far as points are concerned. Overall for me, 14th. Poor Mark. He had a shocker, but that's all right. He carried us in Australia, so it is not all too bad.
Okay, Chief. We've just completed the research for an upgrade, and it's now ready for development. Be sure to check in at the development area when you get the chance.
Righto, first bit of research done, put into development, and we are now another step closer to being able to put some parts on the car. So last little bit here, just going through, looking at what else I can splash some cash onto, upgrade facilities, put some research points towards the car to help improve it, and so on. Well, you bloody legends, this is it for episode number 3. Thanks for joining us again, hanging around. If you made it out to us this far, join us in the next one as we make our way to Japan. Take care, look after yourself, don't forget to send it, and I'll see you.